If you came back home hungry, let's say you stay in a shared apartment and you went to the kitchen, you saw a food flask and you opened it, you saw porridge inside. You know it's not your own. Will you be tempted to take it and eat? You could, maybe, but what if you came in hungry and you went to the kitchen, you saw a food flask, and when you opened it, it was shit that was inside? Will you be tempted to? I thought you're hungry. You're hungry now, and there's no food flask. You see that obviously, if you're a sane person, your answer should be obvious. This is exactly what the scripture means when it asks you to hate sin. The relationship you are supposed to have with sin is not trying not to sin. The relationship is actually a relationship where you hate sin. You see that in Egypt, when Joseph was tempted to sleep with Potiphar's wife, his response was that the act was an act of wickedness. But if he was a young man from this our generation, he will sleep with that woman, call it his weakness, go back to God, ask for mercy, and the Christian life is normal. What's the difference? The difference is that we are trying not to sin. We don't hate sin. We love the idea of sinning. We just don't want to do it because it will not please God. But the goal for the believer is to develop hatred for sin. It becomes difficult to overcome sin if you still like it. But if you hate it, it's easier to overcome. What if Joseph slept with Mrs. Potiphar? What would have happened? Obviously, he won't go to prison, because the reason why he went to prison was because he was accused of sleeping with her. If he did it, she would not have the need to report him. Of course, he won't go to prison. And if he does not go to prison, he will not meet the cupbearer and the butler to interpret their dreams. And if he does not meet them, he will not get to interpret Pharaoh's dream. And if he does not interpret Pharaoh's dream, nobody will be prepared for the famine. The implications are endless. One act of sin, several implications. I am making this video to say to you that sin is not a casual thing. God's grace is there, God forgives, I know, but sin is too dangerous to be something we play with. The relationship we ought to share with sin is that of hatred. Like Jesus, he loved righteousness, he hated iniquity, and that's what granted him favor before God. You're looking for favor with God, you don't just need to love him, you also need to hate sin. Take a few minutes now and make a sincere prayer to God. Ask him to fashion your countenance in such a way that you become repulsive to sin. When you hear sinful things, you become repulsive to them. When you see people not well dressed, you don't think of laying them down. You get nauseous. Ask God to install hatred for sin in you.